In the first two videos, we thought about why it's such a great idea to read the Bible one-to-one with someone else and how to go about it. Today we're going to think about how to read the Bible with someone who isn't a Christian and how you might get that conversation started. See, Jesus tells a really helpful story as we start to think about this. You can look it up in Mark chapter 4. It's a story about a man who goes out to sow some seed, and he throws the seed everywhere. It lands in all different places and it grows in different ways. Unsurprisingly, the seed that grows the best is the one that lands in the good soil. Jesus' explanation makes it really clear. The seed is the word which people hear and respond to in different ways, and that abundant growth comes from the person who hears the word and accepts it. So how will the kingdom grow? Well, as people hear God's word and respond to it by accepting it. This isn't just a message in Mark's gospel. Actually, we see it all through the New Testament, that people need to hear the word and respond to it. They need to hear the good news of Jesus and then believe it. So it makes sense, doesn't it, that reading the Bible with a friend who is not a Christian would be a brilliant way of sowing the word, because that word is exactly the thing that they need to hear and respond to. It's a pattern that is just played out all through the New Testament. So there's Epaphras who shares the gospel with people in Colossae. You've got Lois and Eunice and Timothy who are a family just sharing the gospel with each other. And Prisca and Aquila, well, they disciple a younger Christian by instructing him in the scriptures. It's a normal pattern for people who follow Jesus to make other disciples by sharing that good news with them. There's no set way of doing a Bible study with a friend, but if you're not sure where to start, I think one of the most helpful things is to start by thinking about how you're going to ask them to do it. Now, you might be thinking this is a massive deal and it would be totally weird to ask your friend to do a one-to-one. But that's exactly why you don't want to phrase it like that. So asking someone to do a Bible study if they've never been to church or haven't read much of the Bible before will sound weird. But actually you can make it sound much more relaxed, because it will be relaxed. So why not think about saying something like, well, hey, would you like to look at a bit of the Bible together and we could discuss what it means? Or just ask them if they've read the Bible recently and if they'd like to have a look at it. Another thing you might not want to do is suggest looking at the whole of a gospel together, because that will just sound really overwhelming and you're asking them to commit to something quite big. Instead, why not suggest just looking at the first chapter together, and then at the end of the meeting, if they want to look at some more, well, then you just go from there. Well, what if someone actually says yes, they want to study the Bible with you? What do you do now? Okay, before you meet, do a few things. First of all, pray. This is the most important thing. Pray for yourself and pray for your friend, and that God will be helping you as you look at his word together. Next, read the passage that you want to look at with them. Hopefully you've got time to do that a couple of times, and just read it through slowly and get to know what's in it. Third, think about the kind of things that you're hoping to discuss after you've read the passage. And fourth, try and anticipate any tricky questions that might come up, just so that you're prepared. Okay, now you're going to meet together, but where should you meet? Well, just meet anywhere that you both feel relaxed. So it could be a coffee shop, could be in your home, could be in the pub. Just think about where they're going to feel relaxed. Next, when you meet together, read through the passage. Now, they might not be used to reading the Bible out loud, and if you think that's the case, then you can just read the passage for them. And the next thing you want to do is discuss the passage. So this really isn't going to be like a formal Bible study with lots of set questions that you're expecting them to answer. Rather, you want to have an atmosphere where you're just both discussing what you've read and what it means. So when you finish reading the passage, why not just say, well, what do you make of what we've just read? Questions like, is it new to you, or have you heard about that before? Are a really helpful way of getting your friend to just think about what you've read. Help them to think about the things that they're saying. So if they talk about something in the passage, you could ask, well, if that's true, what does that mean for us? Or a question like, well, how's that different to what other people think? That's just an easy way of getting a conversation going. What if they ask a question and you don't know the answer? Well, don't panic and don't be afraid to say that you don't know. Just be honest and say that you're going to find out and you'll tell them next time. And then why not ask your church leader to help you with an answer? They'll be really happy to help you as you try and share the gospel with your friend. When you get to the end of your meeting, just ask them if they'd like to look at the next passage. And if they say yes, then you can set up a time to do that. What if they say no? Just don't panic. You could ask them why they don't want to carry on. And actually, the answer they give will help you work out how best to keep sharing the gospel with them. So there you go, one-to-ones with a non-Christian. Loads of people are finding it a really great way to share the gospel with their friends. So why not give it a go? Don't worry if you make a mistake. It's God's word and He's the one at work.